Welcome everybody to this installment of In Conversation With. Today we are thrilled to have Rachel Berry from the Illinois Hemp Growers Association join us. Welcome, Rachel.
Great to be here with you, Erica. Thanks for the invitation.
It's a pleasure to have you. I've been an admirer of your work for quite some time. I love to see a strong woman that knows how to get stuff done. And you have been amazing to watch over the last pretty many years. So let's just start with a little bit, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got yourself into hemp.
Well, thanks for all those kind words, Erica. You've been an inspiration the whole time, so thank you as well for being a strong woman in the space and a good role model. So I'm Rachel Berry. I'm the founder and president of the Illinois Hemp Growers Association. We're founded in 2018. We're a membership organization. We work on education, providing resources, support, a community for hemp growers, businesses, interested people and advocates in Illinois and now kind of across the country, which is awesome, and especially in the Midwest. I'm a first generation farmer. I've been a hemp farmer since 2019. That was the first year we had our hemp bill here in Illinois. So I've been growing hemp ever since and experimenting with hemp and companion plants, all kinds of experimentation with hemp since 2019, which has been awesome. I've been on the board of directors for the U.S. Hemp Building Association a couple years ago. I did a 2-year board of directors stint, which was awesome. And I learned so much about hemp building. I've dabbled in hemp commodities as well. So I've just been all over the place, just trying to learn as much about hemp as I can since about 2016, 2017. 2016 sounds about right. I got my farm in 2013 and, I have a 13-acre farm. And not all of that is tillable. I think I got 9 or 10 tillable acres, but trying to figure out, what do I want to do with this land? What kind of farmer do I want to be? Learning more about land stewardship and healthy soil, healthy water, how that contributes to healthy food and healthy bodies and healthy communities. I knew I didn't want to grow corn and soy like my neighbors. So in my research of, what can I grow to make a big impact on my community? What can I grow that's going to give me an edge? I don't want to grow the same crops as everybody else in my community either. I came to hemp, and at the time it wasn't legal. So I became an advocate. I helped push the hemp bill in Illinois. And like I said, I've been a hemp farmer ever since.
That's amazing. It is one of those things that it just seems to be like once you get sucked into it, like you just, it just ever evolves from there. And it ends up, I don't know about you, but it's definitely taking me places that I never would have imagined I would be. And primarily when it comes to the grassroots kind of lobbying aspect of it. I got my start with grassroots advocacy here in Pennsylvania, and it's actually where I met my husband at a rally. And then we just, got this idea that it was 2014 and, why don't we see if we can get a hemp bill introduced? And it sort of has snowballed from there. And, once we got that bill introduced and passed, then it wasn't too long after that that I came to NHA. So I've been with NHA, I guess, almost 7 years now. I just where does the time go? But I remember those first meetings with state senators and reps and just being absolutely terrified. Thinking what am I doing here in the Capitol and talking to these people and so what was it like for you? Was it the same or am I just weird?
No, that's right on. I actually got started in learning to lobby and learning to get comfortable and familiar with the legislative process about 11 or 12 years ago. I've been in the nonprofit spaces. I've been an avid volunteer for more than half of my life. I really enjoy being a volunteer. So I was learning about advocacy at the legislative level before I even got interested in hemp. I was pregnant. And then after that, I had my little nursling and my baby carrier, going to my reps offices and talking about things that mattered to me as a new mom at the time. So I already had a little bit of experience in that realm, and my experience in nonprofit space, my experience as a volunteer, and that level of comfort and really drive. It's pretty exciting. Maybe you've experienced this too. It's pretty exciting to be part of that process and to meet your reps and know that your voice matters, and they are making moves in your best interest. Like, that's exciting to me, and I think it's exciting to everybody. And all of that, all of the excitement about learning about hemp, a new crop, a new way forward, um, a new impact for community, a new way to just all this newness. I just knew we needed something here in Illinois. Like, we needed something local, we needed local people, we needed grassroots, and that's when the IHGA was essentially born.
That's great. And I think everybody should do something, whether it's volunteering or, getting involved in any cause that you may care about at some point in your life, just to get the feel for what the legislative process is. Because I know for me, um, and I hear a lot of people, like, as an advocate, you sometimes hear a lot of complaining, like, well, this bill's not perfect, it doesn't do this, it doesn't do that, you should hold out until you get this, that, or the other. And it's like, that's not how this works, right? Like, politics is the art of the possible, and incrementalism, as frustrating as it is how you actually get where you want to go. So I think a lot of people think that yeah, you just call your rep and, like, somehow magically this stuff happens, and um it's never that easy. And I have yet to find the bill or piece of legislation that doesn't have unintended consequences. But I think the beauty of people getting involved is to not only to learn that process, but to understand, like, what democracy is and how it works, and that a small group of dedicated people actually can affect real and meaningful change. And I think you've demonstrated that beautifully in Illinois. And as I understand, you've had a pretty recent success.
Yeah, yeah. And I agree with you. Like, and it's exciting because hemp seems to excite people and inspire them to get involved in this process. So it's been really exciting to be in this space and watching other people get involved through cannabis, through hemp. I love it. So yeah, recent victory in Illinois. We had a sneaky attempt, gut and replace attempt with a hemp bill here in Illinois that would have done away with a huge. Oh my gosh, excuse me, I just dropped something. A sneaky bill that was a gut and replace that would have attempted to, or that was attempting to, essentially take the hemp industry, which is in Illinois, is largely, and across the United States, is largely focused and brought up through cannabinoids. So it was going to take a huge chunk of those cannabinoid industry participants, shops, products, all of that, and essentially hand it over to the marijuana industry. Hempsters in Illinois, we were not happy about that. This happened right at the end of session. It was a last minute attempt to do this. So I'm really proud to say that the Illinois hemp community came together, even though it was in like the 11th hour, showed up at the Capitol. We let our representatives know that we found this unacceptable. It was not very democratic. They were trying to sneak around the democratic process there. And, we
Yes, so
showed up.
real quick, explain to people who may not be aware what gut and replace means.
Sure. So a gut and replace. So there's a shell bill. We call it a shell. So it's a bill that was written. It can be the Sunshine Happy Rainbows bill. And in that bill, it says everyone should access sunshine and happy rainbows. And we love it. It didn't really go anywhere in the session. It didn't get a lot of attention. It wasn't a priority until the last minute. Somebody saw that that bill was just kind of sitting there. It had some sponsors. It had some support because it's sunshine, happy rainbows. But at the last minute, somebody changed the language of the sunshine, happy rainbows bill to say nobody gets sunshine. Only people who pay to play get sunshine. And because nobody had time to read that bill, They just see the title and they think this is a good bill. Let's push it through, without really understanding what the language of the bill was. And to my understanding, this is used a lot of times for budget. Like there's some last minute budget things that need to happen in the state. But here we see this was not about the budget. This was, well, maybe it was about the budget. It was about commandeering tax money, and it was a whole lot of things. There was a whole lot of things, but bottom line, the hemp industry did not feel like that was a fair way to attempt to regulate hemp more stringently in Illinois. So we showed up, we let them know what we thought, and the bill did not end up getting voted on. So we have some time over the summer to continue conversations with our state reps. Even our congressman is, you know, we all know that the federal farm bill is working its way through as well. So yeah, grassroots level organizing, boots on the ground, let our reps know what we think and what we expect moving forward. And there's a lot of work going on over the summer here in Illinois to get reps out to farms and businesses so they can understand for themselves how this works and
Yeah,
how they
that's
can.
great. And thank goodness, like that, there's people who are vigilant enough to like notice when somebody does a cut and replace like that, because a lot of times I mean, the whole point of it is to try to sneak it through where they don't have to deal with the backlash of the people that they know are not going to appreciate that type of maneuvering, which happens way too often. So you brought up the farm bill. So yeah, obviously that's been a big thing. I still don't think we're going to get one this year. Most likely going to be next year. We've, certainly been working hard trying to get the components of the Industrial Hemp Act into the Farm Bill that will create that bifurcation by legal definition of industrial hemp versus cannabinoid hemp, and provide less regulatory burdens for producers who are growing industrial hemp. The language that's in there in the House version, I think, gets most of the key components in there. It's not perfect in my view, because one of the things we tried to get was a preemption so that we would have a level playing field where every state would be operating under the same set of rules and regulations. We were not successful there. So state level advocacy is going to continue to be extraordinarily important to make sure that state departments of ag are able to, that they do take advantage of the relaxed regulatory options that are going to be available to them. So just curious in general what your thoughts are on the Farm Bill, what you like and don't like about what you've seen so far, and what you would like to see in the end result.
Yeah, well, we liked the initial new version of the Farm Bill, or the initial rough draft. We liked that. Seemed to be working out for everybody. We love that the fiber grain exemption was a part of that. We're a big supporter of that and have been the whole way that NHA has been working on it. But then that sneaky little Miller amendment came out, and we don't love that. There's a lot of things we don't love about that. We don't love what it does to cannabinoid growers, and we don't like the possibility that it could interfere with fiber and grain either. So we are not in support. We are working, that Miller Amendment did come out of our state, came out of Illinois. So we have some extra boots on the ground work to be done this summer here in Illinois. And we're looking forward to, just working with our members, working with folks like you. There's a couple other organizations out there that I think we'll be working with too a little bit. Just to see what we can do to work together, to work with our representatives so that they understand the issues better and they're not being
Had
handed
any
something.
conversations with Representative Miller? Do you have a sense as to whether this was a good intention bill and just needs more education, or is it going to be a lot of work?
I think it's going to be a lot of work. I wish I could say that we've had some great conversations, but so far they've all been one-sided. But we hope that over the summer that will change, and we'll actually be able to get into her office and talk one-on-one, have her meet some folks one-on-one, not just the IHGA, but members, farmers, business owners, and even get her out to some farms and businesses this summer.
It's an excellent idea. And if there's anything that we can do to be supportive of that, like definitely let us know. We've reached out, to express our concerns about it as well. And pretty much you've echoed all the things that we're concerned about it as well, like especially the way it could impact fiber and grain. Um, it's not a huge impact, so at least the definition of hemp derived cannabinoid product expressly excludes industrial hemp. But the changing of the definition to total THC is unnecessary, and that's where I see that it could really have some negative impacts on fiber and grain, especially in states that don't take advantage of visual inspections and some of the other options that they'll have to reduce those burdens. So yeah, a lot of work. Anxiously awaiting seeing some actual language coming out of the Senate. We know that the framework has the key components of the Industrial Hemp Act in the framework, but we haven't been able to see the actual language. And the GOP version doesn't mention hemp at all. So not quite sure what that bodes, but I guess we will find out soon enough. But I feel pretty confident that we should get something good out of this, and some forward progress for the industry, particularly on the fiber and grain side. I think that bifurcation is extraordinarily important, so we can start to see, mainstream traditional farmers adding hemp into their rotations, and get better investments into the industry, because there's still a whole lot of confusion from the investment industry as to what it is they're being asked to invest in, and the legalities of that. So super
Absolutely.
hopeful there.
Yeah, and I'm
But
one of those fiber and grain farmers that want to see this made easier for me to participate in this market. So I am 100% behind it.
excellent. We'll definitely get there.
Mhm.
So in some like broader terms, like what is your outlook of the industry as a whole? Where do you see it going, and what are some of the biggest opportunities that you see?
Great question. I mean, I think a lot of us see many opportunities, but as a first generation farmer, I see this as, the next big crop. And even the next big crop to turn on the next new generation of farmers. I work in agriculture and other nonprofit spaces, and I meet a lot of farmers, and I meet young farmers, multi-generation farmers who are worried about what their future looks like. We also, maybe some of you have heard on the news about these dust storms that are coming back in Illinois. It's like the Dust Bowl all over. Last year, people died because of the dust storms on the highway. So, like, we need a new crop to move forward with. We need a crop. Cover crops are awesome. We should all be cover cropping. But to think that we have a crop that we can cover crop with and make, a decent living on, something we can use to give back to the soil, give back to our communities. Like that gives me a lot of hope just as a farmer and a new farmer. I meet some older farmers too in the community who say, "Oh my goodness, girl, what are you doing here? Farming is really hard." And it is really hard, especially during the climate change. Even when I started growing here, this is like 12 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, it was more predictable even now than it is. We get different weather forecasts daily. So it's tough. But I feel really hopeful that hemp is going to be a crop that we can move forward as a society. Um, all the many things that it can do. I feel very hopeful about that.
I do too. I remember several years ago, we asked you to produce a short video as a message to President Biden, and your tagline was something like, "It's not just a commodity crop; it's a community crop." But yeah, and I was in love with that, like from the first time I heard it, because it's very true, and that's what I see the potential as well, in addition to creating manufacturing jobs and bringing some like economic prosperity to rural America. And we've just lost so many manufacturing jobs over the decades, like to have this opportunity to do something that will bring those jobs back and to do it in a more environmentally friendly way, looking at creating supply chains that are local, and food sources that are local, and those things are it's a whole reimagining of the way we do things, and I think that hemp can be one of those catalysts that helps us do that. At least I hope so anyway.
I'm right there with you.
So you founded the Illinois Hemp Growers Association with your husband, correct?
That's right.
And so, that's it's a unique thing. There aren't too many spouses that work together. So tell us a little bit about, how that goes and how you balance work and home life. And I know for me, even just working from home most of the time, it's hard. It's hard to turn off.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll start by saying Chris and I are high school sweethearts. So I think that really helps to have like a really deep friendship, to even consider going into business together, or especially a business like hemp, where when we started, it was completely unknown. We really had no idea what we were getting into, where it was going to take us. So it's been a really unique journey, and I love working together. I think there are times where, anyone talking about hemp, things can get a little heated, or, things can get, I don't know, there can be conversations that are maybe a little hotter, or whatever, not to use a pun or anything, but for the most part, we get the benefit of like, you get to go to sleep at night and just let you have the person, instead of having your thoughts alone at night, and waiting for the next day or the next board meeting or the next meeting or whatever. Like, you just get to talk about it when it arises. And I agree with you, and I hear you that there need to be limits on that, because you can't just talk about hemp all the time. And I think he definitely keeps me in check. I tend to be the one who wants to talk hemp all the time. And he's like, hey, we need limits here. And he's really awesome about that. He is an amazing partner. His understanding of like mechanical engineering, he's a millwright by trade. So his background really brings a lot to the conversation. His experience, his mom was a botanist, like his experience just with um, curiosity and understanding plants and all of that stuff, it all just ties in so well. And I don't know, it's really awesome to be able to have a partner as passionate about you, and not just as passionate about hemp, but as passionate about volunteerism too. So it's been wonderful.
That's awesome. I know for me, like I said, I met my husband at a rally that he was hosting, and he wrote a book about the history of hemp in Pennsylvania. And so that's kind of how I got sucked into it. And then I started volunteering for him and like helping him organize his events. And then like next thing you know, like we had the medical marijuana movement going on in Pennsylvania as well. So there was a bunch of the mama bears that we called them, that we, partnered with and were working with. And the one day we like told them that like we were a couple, and they were like, well, yeah, duh. And it was like everybody knew it like before we did. And then I figured out that hemp had totally taken over my life when I got like proposed to at the hemp bill signing. Like when the governor called him up and like asked, said he wanted to say a few words. And I'm like, what's happening here?
That's, oh
What's
my gosh, wow, that is quite the proposal story. Wow.
Yeah. But now I'm the one now doing all of the work here, and he gets to pursue other things. So whenever I get frustrated, I just blame him. So like it's still great to have somebody that like is that, passionate about like what I do and understands and
Mhm.
like and I can bounce stuff off of. But then he's also my scapegoat when I get frustrated. It's like, why'd you suck me into this? I thought you loved me.
That's hilarious. Les was one of the first resources that I found when I started looking up hemp.
Oh,
So I
really?
owe him special thanks with the hemp stones, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep, we
Yep,
have
that was
two
one of
in
the
our
first
driveway.
things. Oh, that's so cool. That's amazing. Yeah, so special thanks to Les and to you, of course.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I will make sure to pass that on to him because yeah, his book yeah, opened up a lot of doors for us, like, because the history of hemp
Yeah.
is just something that like a whole lot of people like weren't aware of, and it's still neat for me, like, so like every once in a while, like somebody will come across and find a millstone, and they'll be like, "Hey, you got to tell Les I found this hemp millstone," which
So
is
cool.
like pretty cool. So yeah, it's definitely been a journey for sure. Um, so I understand that coming up in early August, there's going to be an event happening. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So let me switch my tab very quickly. It is August 2nd. It's the 2024 Hemp Research Open House, and the IHGA is co-hosting that with the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign Science Department. And it's got CEU credits available for students and anyone who's interested in CEUs. But it's a tour. We're going to be networking. There's education. Dr. Lee, wonderful, wonderful guy who's leading the hemp program and hemp research at UIUC. He's going to be doing a grain and fiber variety tour, grain and fiber genetic improvement nursery. There's some other agronomy trials, planting dates, seed rates. There's some till and no-till plots. IHGA will be there. I know NHA will be there too, and we'll be providing some education as well. There's going to be handouts and some giveaways, a couple raffles. I'm going to bring some hempcrete stuff. So there'll be a little hempcrete demonstration. So if you've never seen hempcrete or hemp lime building material, you can come out and be excited to check that out too. And yeah, if you don't know about Dr. Lee's research, you should definitely check it out. His big thing is energy crops and grain yields. So anyone who's interested in grain yields, you definitely want to know Dr. D.K. Lee at UIUC.
Excellent. Well, we will definitely put some links to his study and a link to the event in this video. Regardless of whether you're watching it before the event or after the event, it's going to be worth going to that website and checking out. I was poking around there a little bit myself not too long ago, and looking at all of the aerial photographs they have of the different trials that they have going on. I'm going to be doing an interview with Professor Lee in the next week or so, so I'm super excited about that. I will put that link in here as well after that happens. So super excited about that. And like, yeah, like Illinois has some great things going on, and they really have you to thank for a lot of that.
Thank you. It's a community, you know. Like I said earlier, I'm super proud of the community and all of the synergy we all have. Like there's a lot of really cool people out there. I think the hemp space, there's so many cool people in the hemp space, and if you build it, people will show up. They want to be a part of something big, and hemp is big.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I look forward to seeing you in August, getting to come out there. And then I'm sure we'll be doing some videos and some stuff from the event that we'll be able to, post in follow up of that. So any final thoughts?
No, I think we covered a lot. I loved our discussion, and I hope that we can have another one soon.
We absolutely will. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And thank you everybody for tuning into this installment of In Conversation With, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.